What is going on, everybody? It's Alex here coming back at you with another video. Today we are doing the record predictions for the Seattle Seahawks. So right now the Cardinals video is actually blowing up. I really appreciate you guys for doing that. At 33 subs, that's really awesome. Let's kick that up. I want to welcome all you guys into the YouTube family. Hopefully this video gets a lot of traction too, because I know there's a lot of Seahawks fans out there. People from Washington definitely love their Seattle Seahawks. So without further ado, let's look at the team. Seattle, I mean, it's pretty much the Russell Wilson show. I don't know why, but this team always, and I mean always, like has a chance of winning the Super Bowl or winning every single game. Not because their roster is great, because really it's not that good. Because Russell Wilson and somehow this clutch defense pulls games out of thin fucking air, and I don't get it. But it works. That's the thing. It works. And for a while, Russell Wilson didn't have the most lethal wide receiver core. I mean, like, he had some pretty solid options for a little while, but in, like, recent memory, he hasn't had those X factors. And yes, like, Tyler Lockett's a pretty damn good beast, but I don't think that he was the cornerstone piece of this team that they needed. Somehow, there's a man named DK Metcalf, who fell to the second round and was picked up by the Seattle Seahawks. That has completely changed my outlook on this team. They can run the ball well. They have Chris Carson there, Rashad Penny, former first-round pick. I liked Rashad Penny when I first saw him. But DK Metcalf has finally added the ability to completely change this offense by allowing it to go to the air when it wants to, not when it needs to. And Russell Wilson is just an insane talent. It's unbelievable. Now, Seattle, they need to get maybe a couple more weapons. They got Greg Olsen on the team. I'm pretty sure Will Ferrell jokingly walked into the locker room or was on like a Zoom call saying that he was Greg Olsen. You guys should check that out. It was actually quite entertaining. But I mean, they have requisite weapons. They can add more, obviously. But the big problem is the offensive line. They still need to work on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think DJ Fluker was there last year. Of course, I might be wrong. I might be like a couple years off. But they also lost him. I don't know if Dwayne Brown's even still there. I mean, it's this offensive line is pretty weak. But they have, like, somehow Russell Wilson just makes it work. I mean, I don't get it. I seriously don't. I don't think anybody in the world gets it. But I don't think Seahawks fans are complaining. Everybody else is complaining. Everybody else wishes that this shitty roster, like a shitty offensive line, can be just totally eliminated by their quarterback's like insane athleticism and like processor. And I mean, I think Russell Wilson's the second best quarterback in the entire NFL. I think that's pretty common opinion. He is just insanely talented. So on the defensive side, I mean, it's okay. You know, you got Frank Clark there. He hasn't really done much. Jadeveon Clowney left, but I mean, you never know. The Seahawks could re-sign him if they wanted to. You still got Bobby Wagner. You have Poona Ford on the D-line. Poona Ford's not bad at all. Got Bobby Wagner, though. He's still a game changer. And there really isn't too much else. You have Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin. I mean, I know Shaquem Griffin, I believe, is like a fourth stringer, but it honestly doesn't matter. There's still like chance for him. He had like 4.38 speed at linebacker. He has potential. And like you have McDougald on at like safety and stuff. Like you have guys there. Marquise Blair as well from last year's draft. Theoretically last year's, but theoretically also 2 years ago. The one before this last one, guys. He turned out to be a solid safety as well. So they have pieces, but it's not like the Legion of Boom type territory like we really think it, like what it once was at their heights. The Legion of Boom era is not, like, it's not there anymore. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they have taken a significant step down, and I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender for that reason. But Russell Wilson puts them in every single game, which I think can easily lead them to an amazing regular season record and a playoff run. But I don't think that they can make the run to the Super Bowl. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl. They just do not have the requisite offensive line and defensive strength to stop a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that are just balling the fuck out. or the Ravens, who can just slice and dice wherever they want to go. So I don't think they're going to be able to deal with like the type of firepower that the NFL offenses have. But with a few pieces, I know they got like Darrell Taylor. They just got Jordan Brooks in the draft. They have these guys who are projects that can come in and be a big difference. If that happens, they're cooking with Crisco, guys. So, I mean, they just got Colby Parkinson too from my high school. Respect Colby. But I mean, I think that they're on their way to recreating their great team that they've had plenty of solid fucking teams for a very long time. And it's not the same anymore just because Russell Wilson carries everybody on their back. But whatever, guys. You know the drill. They'll be there one day. Week number 1, Seattle goes to Atlanta. Seattle's defensive line, even though it can be stopped by Atlanta's offensive line, this is a game where I think Russell Wilson needs to go out and win one for the team. Seattle is it's a good, talented offense, and the thing is, the corner core of Atlanta is really freaking young. It is going to be eaten alive by DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. This is the thing. This is where being able to run the ball, they won't have that good of a time. You have Deion Jones there, who's more of a cover linebacker, but he has those run-stuffing abilities. You have Deion Jones. You have Tack McKinley. You have now Marlon Davidson. You have guys who can deal with the run. But you don't have the requisite weapons in the secondary now. I'm pretty sure they still have DeMonte KZ. They still have Keanu Neal. And again, this is assuming full healthiness. So these guys are there. Like, given injuries, this team would even have less wins than it does right now. I got a little bit of flack because the video blew up a little bit, and Falcons fans don't like seeing 5-11. They probably would not want to see 28-3 either, but it's whatever. They'll blow either lead. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, like, it's not there. It's not there. They're going to get eaten alive by Seattle, and Russell Wilson is just going to completely demolish Atlanta. So next week, New England's going to Seattle. This is an easy one. Seattle wins. It's a Sunday night game. God, I don't know why the hell that's a Sunday night game. But regardless, New England is definitely in a rebuild mode. I don't think Jared Stidham's the thing. I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick doesn't think he's the real deal either. And I mean, what are you supposed to say? Oh, I mean, he's the real deal. Like is he supposed to say like, oh no, he sucks ass. We're kind of trying to like tank this year. No. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So yeah, next week Dallas is going to Seattle. I mean, I would love to flip those two games. This should be a Sunday night game. Really interesting to watch, unless Dak Prescott doesn't play. But Seattle is this is just a game where Russell Wilson's going to pull it out of thin air. So, I mean, Dallas is far superior on paper. Better offensive line, better wide receiver core, better running back core, not a better quarterback, but that's the big X factor, and a much better defense. So this game is going to be one where Russell Wilson has to clutch it out. This week, I've already given Miami one upset. We're giving them another. Miami is the team to upset the Seahawks. I don't know why. I just feel like going to Miami is similar to going to Foxborough. It's damn near impossible to win in Miami just because it is so different. It's like going to Denver as well. That was the one I was thinking of. But it's just a completely different environment that you have to be there to be comfortable in that type of environment. And I think Miami's going to catch them off guard here. I think that whether it's Tua, which I don't think it's going to be Tua, but Fitzmagic, I mean, like, he pulls games out of thin air. I've already used that freaking reference like 18 times, but it's true. It's Fitzmagic. He has magic. It comes from nowhere. And I think this is going to be a surprise game. Next week, Minnesota going to Seattle. Russell Wilson's going to be like, are you fucking kidding me? I beat the Cowboys and the Patriots and the Falcons, and I lost to the damn Dolphins. He's going to be coming out with some vengeance here. He's going to beat the Minnesota Vikings handily. They get a rest week. They go to Arizona, and they're going to beat them. Go watch the Arizona video if you haven't already. Most likely you guys have because it is the biggest video so far on my channel in terms of like growing, apart from like one video a while ago. But, I mean, Seattle's going to be fully rested. They're going to be going to Arizona, and I think the extra rest is what's key here. if this was a normal week game, and Arizona's also going from a Monday night to a Sunday night game, they have even less rest. So what, you have 6 days of rest versus like what, 14? You have like you know what I mean, guys? Like you have 2 weeks of rest versus 6 days. It's a big difference for being able to be fully ready, prepared, and like ready to kick some ass. So yeah, big game. This next week, San Francisco is gonna beat Seattle in Seattle, guys. I am not a huge fan of San Francisco, but I know that they're freaking talented, and I think that the pass rush this time is way too much for Seattle to handle. Russell Wilson can do a lot of magic. I love my English, don't you guys? He can pull a lot of things from thin air, to continue my little phrase right there. He could be a magician, what I'm trying to say. But sometimes the magician is caught, and he's going to be caught by San Francisco 49ers. You know what's surprising? The next week, Buffalo's going to do the same thing. They're going to lose 2 games in a row here to 2 stud defenses. I mean, like, these are both top 5 defenses. San Francisco are arguably number 1. And like Buffalo, like they're just always good. They're similar to Seattle in the fact that they might not always have to have the best pieces, but they're always like a pretty damn good defense. So cheers to Buffalo. They have a really good defense. And then I think that Josh Allen will continue to game manage, and that will end up leading to just a very low scoring, very boring game, but one that Buffalo wins. The next week, Seattle's going to Los Angeles, fully rested. Seattle's winning this one. Los Angeles is a shit show right now. It is actually embarrassing. I don't think LA is really going to have any form of contention here, but we'll see later in this video. LA is going to be fully rested, but at the same time, LA is also going to be like still having to adjust to the fact that they're losing like all of their like line talent. They lost Todd Gurley, and it's not good. They lost Corey Littleton. They've just lost way too much, guys, and their guys are way too raw. They need some time to develop. So the next week we got Seattle at home against Arizona, Thursday night game. Both of these teams are going to be on short weeks from Sunday to Thursday, but at the same time, you're going into Seattle. That's the big thing. That was the big X factor here. Seattle is a pretty big beast at home, even though San Fran took them down. The next week, Seattle goes to Philly. This was kind of an upset game, but now that Brandon Brooks is injured, which I said assuming full healthiness, but I mean, now we actually know of an actual injury that's going to impact them the full season. This is just exacerbated even further. So, it's going to definitely be Seattle's game now. It used to be like up in the air, but no. Also, extremely long week to rest from a Thursday night to a Monday night game. So Seattle's going to be even more rested than Philly is. Next week, New York versus Seattle. This is actually going to be a close game in my opinion. Go check out the New York video if you want like the immediate reaction videos and stuff. But I think that Seattle is just kind of a juggernaut, and I don't think Danny Dimes is going to be able to outwit Russell Wilson. So, yeah, I think Danny Dimes has some potential, a lot of potential actually. He was probably my biggest whiff on like a draft prospect that I've ever like had. But I mean, cheers to him. But like he has some time to develop. He needs to develop more. New York Jets versus Seattle. I'm giving this one to the Jets as a big freaking upset. You know, here's the thing. Sam Darnold okay, we're not going to use that term again, guys. We're not going to do the pulls things out of midair. He just does things randomly. He will lose and look like shit to New England. But all of a sudden, he lights it up and destroys the Super Bowl contending Cowboys. I think this is his game where he randomly just lights it up. It's really weird to say, but I think this is a game, like I'm feeling it, that Sam Darnold will randomly be good. I think he's crap. I think that he's the most overrated quarterback in the entire NFL. I watch him and the dude sees ghosts and he's just not good at all. Like the Jets suck. They'd be better off without him. I really am a huge Sam Darnold hater. I did not like him in the draft. I thought Baker definitely should have went number 1 overall. Still am definitely solid in that opinion. I saw him as a gunslinger who just made way too many mistakes, and it was just, I've never liked him from the beginning. So the next week, Seattle goes into Washington. This is a no-brainer. No real need to explain this. This could be a similar game to San Francisco if Washington had a competent quarterback. They have an amazing defensive front and a comparable secondary. But Seattle, the offense is just shit. It doesn't matter how low of a scoring game this is, Seattle's going to win it. So the next week, LA is going into Seattle. We're giving this one to LA. We're not going to play games here. We're not giving it to LA. We're giving it to Seattle. LA is just complete garbage. I think that they might have the number 1 pick. I think they might go Penei Sewell. I think that would be the most amazing move for the franchise that they've made, since 2005 or something. It's they need this so badly. So yeah, it's just embarrassing as an LA. I guess I'm a Rams fan just because they're my home team. But man, it is embarrassing to say that they're representing Los Angeles, because no one really thinks the Chargers are Los Angeles' team. The next week, Seattle, the final week, because this is an auto-generated playoff game, Seattle goes to San Francisco. You're going to Santa Clara. Santa Clara is going to kick ass every single time, which leaves them with an 11-5 record. So Seattle's going to be making the playoffs, guys. I'm pretty sure they're definitely in contention right now. They're in the 7th seed. So they're in the last seed right now, which is kind of scary, but we have plenty of teams that have to go in. There's plenty of teams similar to San Francisco who they probably will not be the number 1 seed. So there's just a lot of disparity in the NFC. You have teams that need to be in rebuild mode, teams that need to be in win now mode, teams that's what the fuck is going on type mode, and then obviously you got your rebuild mode. So you have your rebuilds, your teams that can actually contend, even though the Cardinals are my team, teams that can contend, and teams that need to rebuild. So it's actually interesting because there's not too many teams that are tweeners, ones that are 7-9, like Minnesota, where it's but Minnesota's already stacked and they just can't really get over the hump. So that's unfortunate. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the far side. Peace.